Hi, in version 2.6 of Honkai Star Rail, it has been leaked that the banners will be Rappa with Imbabuto Lune in the first half and Acheron with Aventuring in the second half. This sounds pretty sus, but with only one limited character in the patch, it's actually not all that outrageous. But regardless, here we are with one of the most stacked rerun patches ever. Do note everything in this video is still speculation and is subject to change. So here's a quick video of some of the pros and cons of each character coming in version 2.6 and who should pull for them. Before we start, I'll be giving away a supply pass / welcome moon to my subscribers at 6k subs, so make sure you subscribe to enter, and I stream sometimes on Twitch, link in the description if you're interested. Beginning in the first half, the brand new 5-star will be Rappa. If you don't know what she does, I have a guide, link in the description, but in a nutshell, Rappa is an imaginary erudition break DPS focused on AoE content. Rappa's kit revolves around her ultimate, which makes her enter a state while being able to use her newly gained enhanced basic attack thrice per turn. Overall, she is a very capable DPS, especially in higher enemy count content where she shines the most. Together with a talent that buffs all teammates break damage, Rappa is an absolute monster in mob clearing content like Pure Fiction. However, that is the extent of her kit. Other than AoE, you would much rather use other break characters like Firefly and Buhyo and just other DPS in general. So for people who are struggling with Pure Fiction, Rappa will be a great addition to your account. Especially since even if the content is not imaginary weak, she can still perform relatively well. And just in general, for people with Ranmei and Lingsha sitting around, Rappa will be a great option for those teammates in AoE content. But that being said, if you really can clear Pure Fiction and or have multiple AoE units like Argentine, Jade, etc., then Rappa will not seem all that worth it. And if you already have Firefly, then Rappa may not be that enticing either. Moving on to the first phase rerun, Danhei in Imbabuto Lune, who will be returning for a second time. D-Heal is an imaginary destruction DPS that deals great blast damage at the cost of 3 skill points per attack. Great is not the most accurate word to describe his damage nowadays, but it will do. He is, to this day, still one of the more capable DPSs in this game. In imaginary weak content with 3+ enemies, which surprisingly appears pretty often, like in MOC or AP, D-Heal is still one of the better options to use if you do have his ideal teammates. But that being said, if you do not have Sparkle, he is better off not used. Now of course, I'm not gonna pretend that he has completely escaped power creep, as ever since his last rerun, he hasn't really gotten any new buffs and kinda stayed the same power level, which isn't bad but isn't good either. So for people who are lacking an imaginary DPS, Imbabuto Lune will be pretty good for you. If you have Sparkle lying around and want to use her, then D-Heal will not be a bad choice either. And since this is a rerun, going for E2 is not a bad idea either, as it does become significantly stronger at that echelon. Otherwise, if you already have the top DPSs in the game, like Acheron or Firefly, then he really is not that worth it. And if you receive Doctor Ratio for free, then the imaginary DPS slot is already occupied, as you'd rather pull for Ratio's teammates than D-Heal, and if you do not have Sparkle, I would suggest skipping him for now. Now for the second half, starting with the Acheron rerun. Acheron is a lightly nihility DPS that uses debuffs to charge her insanely strong ultimate. Unless you live under a rock, Acheron has been one of the best DPSs since her release, with her also receiving a buff through Jiaochu semi-recently. Some may say that Firefly is better, but in my opinion, I still believe Acheron to be more worth it. To this day, she is still the only DPS that is able to competitively complete all 3 game modes, being MOC, PF, and AP comfortably. There really is nothing else that needs to be said. Insane damage per second and insane damage per screenshot, with many potential for more buffs in the future. The only real downside is her Lycan options for free-to-play leaves more to be desired. So basically, if you do not have her and don't particularly hate her, then I would recommend you pull for her. Also, people with Jiaochu lying around, Acheron will be one of the best options for you as well. And since her E2 is so good, this is her rerun, so if you would like to go for her E2, then that's a good idea as well. Otherwise, realistically, there isn't really a super concerning reason other than just disliking her design to not get her. And finally, the rerun of the second phase, Aventuring. Adventuring is an imaginary preservation shielder that also provides a follow-up attack. With the amount of help and support follow-up attack focused team comps got recently, Adventuring Rerun is probably one of the most sought after reruns in recent times, next to Acheron. His sustain is the best in the game, especially in follow-up attack teams, while also being very skill point efficient. Together with his own follow-up attack that does decent damage, this all makes him one of the best sustains and one of the best units in general in this game. Outside of FUA teams, you may find him a tad bit less skill point efficient and a tad bit less damage, but even so, he continues to be a top choice for sustain option in almost all teams, and especially in Acheron teams, as his ultimate is an ultimate damage up debuff, just perfect for his rerun partner. So if you are missing a second limited sustain, then Adventuring will be perfect for you. But just in general, if you're struggling to keep your team alive or just want a more comfortable experience, Adventuring will be great for you as well. And those that are looking to upgrade their follow-up attack teams or Acheron teams will enjoy Adventuring as well. However, if you do not use Acheron or follow-up attack teams and already have multiple limited sustains, then Adventuring can be skipped. So yeah, of course, make sure you pull for your waifus and husbandos over meta despite everything I said in this video. If you like a character, just go get them. I am very skeptical of this being the actual banners, but it also kinda makes sense trying not to steal away any revenue for the new characters by having an Acheron/Adventuring rerun. But who knows? We can only wait for the livestream in about 2 days to see the actual banners.